Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight we've got a really unsettling late-night diner story. So without much more yapping, let's begin. I've worked the night shift at the Waffle House on Highway 78 for 3 years now, the one just outside Anniston, past the pilot station and the billboard for a personal injury lawyer who looks like he's never lost a case or slept a full night. That one, 3 years is long enough to know everybody. I mean that literally. I know which truckers roll through between midnight and 2, which ones want coffee first, and which ones want to order before they even sit down. I know the couple from the subdivision off Quintard who come in every Friday at 1 in the morning after their poker thing, and I know they always split the all-star breakfast and argue quietly about whatever they argued about at the poker thing. I know the older guy who nurses a single cup of decaf for 45 minutes and never says much. That's about it. By 2 a.m. on most nights, we're talking maybe 4 people total, sometimes fewer. Jeff handles the back. I handle everything else, which sounds like more than it is. Jeff Foster's the cook. Has been since before I started. He runs the grill the same way every night, same order, same rhythm, and he doesn't talk much until after the first rush, which at this location basically means after midnight. Then he'll come up front and lean on the counter and say something about whatever game was on earlier. I don't follow sports much, but I've gotten pretty good at nodding. I picked this job on purpose. I came down from Birmingham about 3 years ago needing something that worked the same way every single night, and this was it. The night shift especially. Quiet, predictable, low stakes. You learn the rhythms, and then you just live inside them. That's what I needed. I'm not going to get into the Birmingham thing right now, but that's the short version of why I'm here. So 4 customers by 2 a.m. every night, more or less the same, I knew this place proper. That's why the car bothered me. Dark blue Honda Accord, parked at the far edge of the lot, right where the overhead lights stopped doing anything. Not in a spot exactly, just kind of pulled up to the edge of the pavement where it met the gravel. No one got out. It was just there. I noticed it the first night because I noticed everything. And then I noticed it the second night and figured it was probably a coincidence. And then the third night it was back in the exact same spot. And I stopped calling it a coincidence. I mentioned it to Jeff on the third night. Somewhere around 2:30, slow enough that we were both just standing around. There's a car been parked out there 3 nights in a row, I said. Same spot, nobody gets out. Jeff looked up from wiping down the counter. People sleep in their cars out here all the time, man. Long stretch of highway. Yeah, I said, that was pretty much the whole conversation, and I accepted it because it made sense. People do sleep in their cars on that stretch. It's a long run between exits and the pilot's always got somebody crashed in the back corner of their lot. Jeff wasn't wrong, I let it go. Kept doing my job. Refilled the decaf guy's cup, wiped down the booths, restocked the napkin holders, the usual loop. Then the 4th night came. I went out around 3 for a cigarette. I'm not a heavy smoker, maybe 3 or 4 a day, but the 3 a.m. one is non-negotiable. I propped the side door open with my heel and lit up and just stood there in the parking lot. It was cold enough that my breath showed. January in Alabama is weird like that. Not brutal, but not nothing either. The Accord was back. Same spot. I could see the outline of it past the edge of the light. That dark shape just sitting there. I didn't walk toward it or anything. I just smoked and looked at it the way you look at something you've already decided isn't your problem. Then the driver's window came down. Not all the way. Maybe 4 inches. And there was a hand in the gap. Pale, holding a phone with the screen lit up. Just for a second. Then the window went back up and the hand was gone. Finished the cigarette. I went back inside after another few seconds. I didn't run or anything. I just went back in. The security monitors are mounted up near the pass-through. 2 screens showing the lot from different angles. Grainy, black and white, but decent enough. I went over and looked at them. The spot where the Accord had been was empty. checked the angle on the second one in case the first was cutting off that far corner. It wasn't. The car was gone. I hadn't heard an engine. I'd been outside less than 30 seconds between when the window rolled up and when I came back in, and the side door had been open the whole time. I would have heard it start. The lot's not big enough that a car could pull out quietly without me catching something. Nothing. Jeff was scraping the grill down. I thought about saying something and then didn't. I didn't have anything useful to say. Car was there, then it wasn't. No engine, no noise. That's all I had. Jeff would have nodded and gone back to scraping and probably said something about how sound was funny at night on the highway, and he probably would have been right. I went back to the counter and refilled my own coffee, stood there looking at the monitors for a while longer. Still empty. The fifth night was quiet. Nothing in the lot. I kept watching anyway. That's the thing about seeing something you can't explain. You don't stop looking. I'd wipe down a booth and then check the monitors, refill the napkin holders and check the monitors, pour coffee I didn't need and stand there staring at two grainy black and white screens until Jeff asked if I was feeling okay. Fine, I said. He didn't push it. I told myself I was being careful, reasonable. That's what I do. I notice things and I track them and I keep my mouth shut about it until I know what I'm actually dealing with. The fifth night was nothing. No accord, no window rolling down. Just an empty lot and cold January air against the glass and Jeff scraping the grill at 2:30 like always. I almost let it go. The sixth night, I saw it on the monitor. First, it was a little after 1 a.m. slow stretch. The married couple from Quintard had come and gone, arguing about whether she'd overbid a hand of cards, which was apparently a whole thing. The older man had nursed his decaf and left $1.50 on the table like always. Jeff was in the back doing something with the fryer. I was wiping down the counter and glancing at the screens every few passes. The Accord was back, same spot, far edge of the lot where the light gives up. And there was someone standing next to it, dark jacket. Just standing there facing the restaurant, not moving toward it, not moving away, just standing. My stomach did something. I'm not sure what to call it. Clenched is probably the right word. I looked up from the monitor and out through the front window. The lot was empty, actually empty. The far corner was dark, but I could make out the gravel line where the pavement stops. And there was nothing there. No car, no person. I looked back at the monitor. The figure had moved. It was closer to the edge of the lot now, maybe halfway between the Accord and the restaurant. Still facing the building, still not moving. I put the rag down. There's a rewind function on the monitor setup, nothing fancy. Just a little jog dial mounted to the side of the unit. I turned it back about 4 minutes and watched the footage run forward again. The timestamp in the bottom corner of the screen was current. The Accord pulled into the far spot at 1:12 a.m., which matched what I remembered seeing. The figure appeared beside it about 30 seconds later, stepping out from the driver's side. Not a loop. Not a glitch. The clock matched my phone, matched the register display, matched everything. I didn't say anything to Jeff. I didn't know what I'd say. Jeff clocked out at 3. That's the deal. He works 11 to 3, and I cover the rest alone until 6 when the morning crew comes in. 3 years I'd been doing this, and I'd never had a problem with it. The last 3 hours are the quietest. Sometimes nobody comes in at all. He grabbed his jacket from the hook near the back and said something about his wife's doctor appointment in the morning and not getting enough sleep. I said good luck with that. He pushed out the back and I heard his truck start up in the employee lot. That was it. Just me. I thought about the monitors for a second. Looked at the front door. There's a policy. Front door stays unlocked during operating hours, no exceptions, because technically we're a 24-hour restaurant. And if someone needs a meal at 4 a.m., that's what we're here for. I've never locked it. Not once in 3 years. I walked over and turned the deadbolt. It made a small, solid sound. That was all. I'm not going to say I felt better. I didn't really feel anything. I just did it and then walked back to the counter and looked at the monitors. The figure was standing directly in front of the entrance, not at the edge of the lot, not by the car. Right there at the front of the building, maybe 10 feet from the door, angled up toward the camera. The resolution on those screens is bad enough that faces don't really come through. Too grainy, too compressed. Most people show up as a blur of features that you could maybe identify if you already knew who you were looking at. This one had nothing. No shadow of a nose, no line of a mouth, just a pale oval tilted up at the lens. I reached for my phone on the counter, no signal. I checked it twice. No bars, nothing. I'd had full bars an hour ago when I'd texted my landlord about the heat. Now the signal icon was just gone, replaced by a little X I'd never seen on this phone before. I set it back on the counter, picked it up again. Still nothing. The knock came from the back door, 3 of them. Solid, spaced out, like someone counting between each one. Then nothing. Then 3 more. I told myself it was Jeff. He'd forgotten something. His keys maybe, or the Tupperware his wife packed his lunch in. The blue one with the cracked lid he brought every shift. I told myself that while I was already backing away from the counter without really deciding to. Jeff always used the front. In 3 years, I'd never once seen him come through the back after clocking out. But I told myself it anyway because the alternative wasn't something I wanted to think about yet. 3 knocks. Silence. 3 more. I moved toward the side emergency exit, keeping the counter between me and the back. The fluorescents were still on, the grill was still humming. The monitors showed the front lot empty and the side lot empty, and nothing else because neither camera covered the back. That part I hadn't thought about before. That was a bad night to think about it. Then the voice came through the back door, muffled, the way voices get through metal, kind of flat and shapeless. It said their car had broken down. Said they needed to use a phone. Said it in a way that made my skin go tight across my shoulders, because it didn't sound like someone who needed help. It sounded like someone who'd been told what to say and was saying it carefully so they didn't forget any of it. Too even. No frustration in it, no cold, no urgency, just the words in order. I didn't say anything. The handle moved, slow all the way down, then back up. Testing. The lock held. Watching the handle settle back into place, I didn't breathe through most of that. Then footsteps. Along the outside wall, moving left. I tracked the sound through the wall, past the mop sink, past the bathroom, slowing near the bathroom window, then continuing, coming toward the side exit, toward where I was standing. I moved. Back toward the front counter, fast, not running but close to it. I'd just cleared the end of the counter when the side exit handle went down the same way the back one had. Slow, all the way. I was behind the register when the lights went out. Not a flicker, just gone, the whole ceiling at once. But the grill kept its low hum and the refrigerator kept going and the little green power light on the monitor stayed on. So it wasn't the whole building, just the overheads. Someone had cut the overheads specifically, which meant they knew where the breaker was, which meant they'd been inside before. Or they'd done enough looking to know, then the bathroom window went. It wasn't a big sound, just a sharp crack and then the lower register of glass hitting tile. But it was enough. I ran straight to the front door, both hands on the deadbolt, fingers slipping because my hands were wet with sweat, and the bolt was stiff and I wasted probably 3 seconds on it that felt like considerably more. Then it turned and I shoved the door open and I was outside and the cold hit me all at once. That January cold, and I ran across the lot toward my truck. 50 feet, felt longer. I heard gravel behind me before I was halfway there, footsteps fast and getting faster, and I stopped thinking about anything except the truck. I got the door open, got in, got the key in on the second try, which honestly surprised me. The engine turned over and I had it in reverse before the door was fully closed. and I backed out hard and swung toward the exit and hit the brakes for half a second because I had to look. The rearview mirror. Brake lights painting the lot red. The figure was standing right where I'd been parked, still, facing the truck. And the brake lights were bright enough, finally, that I could see the face. There wasn't one. It had smooth skin, pale like the hand in the window had been pale. No eyes, no mouth, no nose shadow, nothing, just a flat oval. The monitor hadn't been low resolution. There just wasn't anything there to show. I drove to the Anniston Police Department on Gurney Avenue, and I sat in the parking lot for a long time before I went in. Long enough that a patrol car pulled alongside me, and the officer inside asked if I was all right. I said yes. I wasn't sure that was true. The officer on duty was Maxwell Rios. He was professional about it, I'll give him that. Took down everything I said, asked follow-up questions, kept his face mostly neutral. He sent someone out to the restaurant while I was still sitting across from his desk. They found the bathroom window, broken from outside, glass on the tile, frame bent. No fingerprints on the sill or the frame or the door handles I'd described. No footprints outside in the dirt along the wall, which had been soft enough to hold them. The security footage from the hours I'd been alone was static, all of it. Not corrupted, not missing, just static, like a signal that was never there. Officer Rios said they'd look into it. He said it like he meant it, mostly. Then he paused, and I watched him decide whether to say the next part. He said it anyway. The diner had reported a similar incident 8 months prior. Different employee. She'd quit too, apparently. He didn't have details beyond that, and he didn't look happy about not having them. I didn't ask what happened to her. I think part of me already understood that asking wouldn't help. I quit the next morning, called the manager, left a voicemail, didn't explain much. 3 weeks later, I was in Mobile with most of my stuff in the back of my truck and a day shift lined up at a warehouse off Rangeline Road. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 60 other people on the floor at all times. For a while, that was enough. Then one night, 2 months in, I woke up at 3 a.m. for no reason I could name. My apartment was dark. I lay there the way you do when something pulls you up out of sleep, and you don't know what it was. Listening, heart running a little fast, waiting for it to make sense. There was a street light outside my window. It threw a thin bar of orange across the ceiling. I watched it, normal, still. Then the light changed, not off, not flickering, just interrupted. The way a shadow moves across something when something moves in front of it. My apartment is on the 3rd floor. I didn't get up. I don't know why. I just lay there with my eyes on the ceiling and I didn't move, and after a while the light went back to normal and I stared at it until it was morning. I haven't worked a night shift alone since. That's not changing, but I also don't look at windows after dark anymore. Not if I can help it. Not from the inside, and especially not from the outside. I've started to think it wasn't looking for something in that diner. I think it was looking at me. Well, there you have it. Hopefully this one gave you the creeps for the night. I'll see y'all in the next one.